Calling to order the Monday, July 27th meeting of the Williamstown Select Board here in the Municipal Building. We're also on WillyNet and available online via Zoom. First up, we have announcements. We have National Night Out. Pull this up. Oh. Let me get the flyer up. National Night Out, hosted by the Williamstown Police Department and also including fire, EMS, DPW, town boards and committees, local businesses, service groups and neighbors. That's Tuesday, August 4th. Entertainment, games, food, and drink, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Spruces Park. All right, we've got our consent agenda. We have minutes from 7:13. We have the approval of the fun run and the route of the fun run on September 26th. That's in the packet. And a one-day special liquor license, or several one-day special liquor licenses for Williams College, home football games at Weston Field on 9/19, 10/10, 10/24, 10/31, and 11/14. Any motion to adopt the consent agenda?
So moved.
I second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, the consent agenda passes unanimously. And now we'll go into hearings. We have National Grid on 1, 2, 3, 4 hearings. Ryan, are you? Do you have? Okay, it's good. All right, great. Come on up. If you could just, no, just to the, just so that we can pick you up on WillyNet.
I gotcha.
Thank you. And I think we'll go in the order we have is, the first one we have is the one is on Oblong, 3 JO poles and removing 2 JO poles on Oblong Road.
Mm-hmm.
And do we have to open and close each hearing individually?
Bob, should we do all 4 individually or open one hearing? One hearing.
One hearing?
All right. Thank you. Yeah. So should we start there if you have that one?
Yeah, I have
Ready?
Oblong right here.
All right, great.
Yeah. So yeah, basically we're just gonna be shifting 3 existing poles over a bit just to fix some long spans on Oblong Street. And yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. It's gonna be out of that 3-foot range. It's gonna be pushed over a little bit more than 3 feet, so we just got a petition for that.
And all the abutters were noticed.
Yes.
And before we get into it, which is the one? It's the third one, Potter Road. We received feedback about one of them, so we'll.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone have questions on the Oblong Road?
No.
So why don't we do the approvals one by one, though? Would anyone like to?
I move we approve the pole removal at Oblong Road.
It's also the installation of 3.
Removal and installation.
Any second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that one's
That's good.
passed. The next one we have is on, at least as it's on our agenda, we have Hopper Road.
Yeah.
So that's installing 1 JO pole on Hopper Road.
Mm-hmm. Kind of the similar principle. We're just trying to cut down on a long span, just to improve that area over there.
Pull that one up as well. Does anyone have questions about the Hopper Road installation?
I'm trying to figure out which one's the new, is the new pole that you're putting in?
Say it again.
You're putting in a new pole?
Yeah, it's good.
What number is it?
35-50.
Okay. Great, thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Any other questions?
I
Anyone
move
like
that we approve the installation of 1 JO pole on Hopper Road, number 3150, 3550.
I second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, passes unanimously.
Okay.
Let's go to the Potter Road.
Oh, I'm good. Oh, sorry. For Potter, we're gonna be installing. Let me check the numbers to make sure I'm right. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 mid-span poles. All of them same principle as the last one, just cutting down on long spans and on Potter Road. There's a lot of the spans were over 200 feet, and we're just trying to make sure everything's up to our standards now.
All right, before we get, I know we have someone in the public who wants to comment on it, but
Mhm.
before we get to public comment, any questions from the board on the the Potter Road installations?
So are you removing some poles, or is just adding 10 poles?
For this one, we're just yeah, we're adding.
Wow.
Yeah.
Other questions from the board?
It's a lot of poles.
Yeah, Hopper and Potter are kind of like rougher areas when it comes to the storm time. So we kind of noticed a pattern over the years of them. Once like there's a storm, winter, wind, they get hit hard, really hard, and they're out for power for a while. So we're just trying to make it a little bit better.
So you
Yeah.
expect fewer outages with more poles?
That's the goal. We're trying. When we see stuff like, I think it was like I did it, so like 200, 210 long spans. That's a lot. The wire's so heavy, it's pulling those poles down.
Oh, right.
So we want to put something just to give a little bit more support.
So
the-
it doesn't take much to
Yeah.
knock the whole thing down.
And then we're not there like middle of the winter trying to put it
Yeah.
all back together.
Yeah. Okay.
Other questions from the board? All right, we'll take public comment on this one because we had a commenter who wanted to speak to it.
Okay.
Bob, you have them promoted to speak? All right, we'll take public comment if you'd still like to.
Okay, so can I speak?
Yes, we
just-
can hear you.
okay,
and we
great.
can see you.
Thank you.
You're in the room. If you could just say your name and town of residence, and then go ahead.
Sure. My name is Ellen Blay. I own the property at 735 Potter Road. And are you Charles? I'm sorry, I joined a little bit late.
Yeah, I think we spoke on
Yeah,
the phone,
hi.
right?
Yeah, we spoke on the phone, yeah. So, thank you. I submitted a letter to the board, but I wanted to simply ask or request that the new poll, I think it's called 1-50, is that correct?
Oh, let me double check for you.
And it looks like it's, near the 735 property. So I just wanted to see if there's, first of all, if it could be on the other side of the road. And I think, Charles, you said in our conversation, the plan is to put them on the other side of the road. Is that right?
Yeah, so it wouldn't be on your side of the property where your house is. It wouldn't be on the side of your house. I mean.
Right. Okay. And although this map that you provided doesn't specify, there are some woods that start on the property about 100 feet up from the house. So as you're going up Potter Road, and I would simply request, if it's possible, to place it a little further on along the road. And it's hard on this map to tell where the placement is, but just it's kind of a funny property to begin with, and trying not to have two poles visible from the house if possible. So that was just my request, to preserve the property value.
Just to make sure I'm understanding, you'd want the pole closer to the road?
No, so if you're driving up Potter Road, and it's easier to see on Google Maps, but there's a point where there's woods that start, and they basically continue almost all the way up Potter Road, but they start on this 735 property.
Yeah.
And so I would just request that the pole be placed, kind of up a little bit, up the road, maybe, to where the woods start on the 735 side, which would just make the pole less visible from the house. That's all.
Do
Not,
you see on in our meeting packet? Do you have the same? Just I want to make sure that we're looking at the same document that you're looking at. Have you seen? We have a document in our public packet called 3 Potter Road, where we're looking at pole 1-50, and it's between pole 1 and pole 2.
yes, that's the pole I'm
okay.
talking about.
So what you're describing, are you describing it as moving it, making sure it's as close as possible to P1 or as close as possible to P2?
closer to P2.
Closer to P2.
Yeah, and it's hard to see on this map, but if you looked at Google Maps or Onyx, you could see that on 735, on that property, as you go from pole 1 to pole 2, there are woods. It transitions into, there's grass around the house, but then there's woods. And so I'm just requesting, because it's hard to see where this is actually placed, if it could be closer to the woods, that's all.
Are they marked in the field?
Oh yeah, we have stakes out there. It's
Yeah, I
all-
haven't been able to get up there and look at it, unfortunately.
I think it's this, like, from this house, this is woods. So it's more.
No, it's not
Right.
actually that house. That's how it comes up on, that's, it says it's 735, but 735 is actually that house. Right, your house is at the, at the
Intersection.
Y intersection of Potter and
And Hopper,
Road,
right.
Right, yeah,
Right,
on
it's where
Google
the
Maps
V
it's
comes in.
misidentified.
Yeah, and the house is very, very close to the road and can't be moved because of, proximity to the river. And so the house is really stuck there, right on the road. And but if you're looking at Google Maps, you can see that there's woods that
Yeah.
start. And so it looks like this might be placed, where I'm talking about, but I just can't tell from the map that National Grid provided.
So I'm looking at Google Maps and just going off of memory, I believe it's closer more so towards the bottom left of your house. So it wouldn't be right in front of that side window. It'd be kind of like a little bit out the way, but I can double check
Okay.
on that.
So it would be visible from the house then?
From Google Maps, I just can't tell where your windows are. But if you step
Yeah.
outside, you're gonna see it.
Okay, so that's pretty set then, where you're gonna place it?
It's still up to the town, but there's some wiggle room there. There is some wiggle room.
So
Okay.
one possibility is that we wait and take a look at where the pole is. Another possibility is that we give you discretion with an objective. For example, that we think the midspan poles are important, but that we would want it as close to P2 as is logistically possible.
Yeah, I got you. I think we can move it closer to P2. We can kind of get it closer. I think we could work with that if that's okay.
But at some point it
Yeah.
won't be all the way up on P2 because then it's not a midspan.
Yeah, then there's no point. Yeah, it can't be a foot away
Right.
from it. But we can kind of. It doesn't have to be perfectly even, but we try to get it as close as possible. So I could try to figure something out.
Do other board members have thoughts on this?
I think that's what we should do. I mean,
You think we should do what?
just recommend that try to move it as close to P2 as makes sense
possible.
for
Yeah.
National
Alright.
Grid.
I mean, so there still may be some visibility to the pole to our house, no matter what you do.
Yeah, it's gonna be a 40-foot pole, which you see out on the road. So it's kind of no matter where you go, you're gonna see it.
Exactly, because you can only move so far, is what you're saying.
Yeah, we
But it's
can't.
on the opposite side of the road. It's not like it's right.
In interface,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, it'll be on the opposite road. It's not on the same side as our house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I totally appreciate the fact that we'll have, less electrical outages as a result of storms, because you're right, we have a lot of that. But, to the extent that you can, I can get up there this weekend and I would be able to see. And Chris, I could call you, I'm sorry, Charles, I could call you and see, if,
Maybe we could work something out.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's-
if you're amenable to that, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, no,
So-
that sounds good.
isn't
I'm a-
it exact science? Are you trying to get like a exact number of feet between the poles?
So say if it's like I don't know the exact span, but say if it's a 200-foot span, we want to split it where it's 100 on each side, kind of. That's kind of like the math
Right.
to it.
But
we-
it could be maybe 90, 110.
Exactly, we can do something
Okay.
like that. It doesn't have to be
Right.
perfect, but we wouldn't want it to be like 1090, because then there's no point.
There's no
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, we can
Right.
wiggle with it.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your willingness to consider that. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you to the board.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
comment. Would anyone like to make a motion?
So I move that we accept National Grid's proposal for Potter Road with the caveat that they work with the homeowner of 735 to move the pole pole P150 as close as possible to P2.
No, yeah, we'll get for sure.
I second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
All right, that one passes unanimously.
That's good.
So then I think the last one that we have,
Thank you.
was Henderson Road.
Yeah, we have a contractor that's gonna speak Cameron.
All right.
Good evening. My name's Cameron Roderick. I'm a contractor for National Grid. I was the one working on this design. So what we're proposing is installing one new jointly owned pole on Henderson Road, north of pole 37. It's about 130 feet north of this pole. The reason why we need to install this pole is because we're looking to install AMI equipment, which is basically helps with we're trying to increase the smartness of the grid, if you will. So the AMI device is pretty much advanced metering infrastructure. So with that, it'll give the homeowners in the area more ability to track their power usage. If their power goes out, it sends a notification directly to the National Grid, and hopefully we can get someone out there faster than they would if you get just from calling in, so we can get their service back online. This is a project we've been working on all throughout the state, and the main reason why we need a pole here is because you have to have poles with no other equipment on them. There can't be much line angle, that sort of thing. Does anyone have any questions about this?
Any questions from the board?
So is this AMI equipment on like a lot of poles in town?
So, from my understanding, it's a vast project across the state, and my company, Control Point, has been working with National Grid to get a lot of the Western Mass towns up to this new getting them all on the project. And I believe, there are a few poles in this town where AMI equipment is already installed. The reason why we're only petitioning one pole here is because we were able to find suitable poles already pre-installed that we could put this equipment on.
Oh, I see.
But for this neighborhood area, we couldn't have one with that our equipment would fit on pretty much.
It's hard to tell where that is on Henderson Road with you.
Yeah, it is. That's why I keep trying to look.
It's
I know.
this is about
491.
1,000 feet south of Brook Road.
Okay.
So what does the AMI equipment do?
So, I don't know, maybe you guys might be familiar with National Grid offering you the smart meters.
Yeah.
So this is pretty much the equipment that collects the data from the smart meter.
Okay.
I mean, and then I could go into a little bit more depth, but it pretty much collects it, sends it to another meter, centralized, and that gets sent to the National Grid. It's just part of the system.
I see.
Cool.
Thank you.
Do we have anybody who wants to?
Any motion on this one?
So it's only one pole, right?
Correct. And similar to the other petitions, it's directly in the center of the one span, so basically another mid-span pole.
Motion to install one JO pole on Henderson Road.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that one passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and that closes our hearings for tonight. Now moving on to items for select board's consideration. First, we have a one-day liquor license, Bright Ideas Brewing for the Blues and Roots Festival.
Hi, my name is Kaylee. I'm here from Bright Ideas. So we basically just need a one-day pouring permit for the Blues and Roots Festival. I believe the festival is supposed to run from 11 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. On August 15th, which is a Saturday. I had spoken to Linda, and she said that she wasn't sure we would be able to pour for that amount of time, and to bring it up with you guys, because I don't know how you give out licenses and stuff. Never had to apply for one in Williamstown. So, yeah, but basically, we'd be pouring inside at the main bar. We'd do our tap system, and we'd ID everyone, and everyone would get a wristband to note that they're 21.
Bob, is there usually a time limit?
No.
Oh.
No, there's state rules that are, very early in the morning till 2 a.m. And it's up to you guys to decide whether within that scope, if that's okay, or if you think it's too long, that's your decision.
Yeah, I was hoping if we could do like a 11:30 to 10 o'clock situation. I'd be there for half the day, and I'd have another bartender come for the second half.
Is it just beer?
It's just beer.
Any other questions from the board?
Just that you would prefer, instead of it be 11 a.m. to 10:30, you would prefer it to be 11:30 to 10?
Yeah, just so I have time to set up and make sure we have everything. I've never been to the 62 Center, so I don't know what the system looks like there. I just want to make sure I have ample time to set up and whatnot.
I was gonna ask, doesn't the 62 Center usually have or they do have an event that serves alcohol? Don't they usually do it outside?
That depends.
Both. We do both.
We're
both.
definitely doing it inside.
Okay.
I double checked, yeah.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure.
I think you just don't see the inside ones if you're
Well, I've never seen the inside bar.
Oh.
That's right. I've only been outside every time I've gone.
This is temporary, just temporary.
Yeah, I get that.
Anyway, it seems fine with me. I move that we approve the one-day liquor license for August 15 from 11 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. for Bright Ideas at the 62 Center.
11:30.
What?
Yeah, 11:30.
you wanna-
We'll do 11:30 to 10.
If we gave you the whole time, you could
We
start
can,
tonight.
yeah, we can take the whole
You
time
can
too.
start at
That's
whatever
fine.
time. That
Perfect.
gives you leeway.
You can
Thank
still
you.
set up.
If you don't
Great.
serve beers at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
You're
We're
all
gonna
gonna
be
be
there.
mad. Perfect.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
And then,
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks.
guys.
bye, Kaylee.
Bye. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have a vote to approve and sign the September election warrant. Bob, are you presenting on that one? Do you have the information on that?
Yeah, so in your packet, in the packet, you should see the warrant for the article for Tuesday, the first day of September in 2026, from 7 to 8. It lists all the offices that are part of the primary and the location at the elementary school. And if you choose to go ahead and approve, I will also need to collect your signatures, so don't run out of the room before I get that.
Is there any change in this from usual? Nothing?
No, this is
Okay.
just standard operating. It's just what we have to certify to the Secretary of State.
Mhm.
I love the wording on these things. Warn the inhabitants that an election is coming to town.
All right, any motion to approve this schedule and location?
Move we approve the schedule of election, is that what this is called?
Bob, does it have a name?
Election
This
warrant.
document? The
Election warrant.
Yeah.
Move that we approve the election warrant.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Can I ask a question? What does SS mean at the top?
County.
SS.
County.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's usually county. You fill in, you rate Berkshire.
Or whatever your county is. But no
Why
one,
is it SS
no one
and
really
not
knows.
C?
Yeah.
No one really knows.
The secret
Crazy-
society, I think is
crazy
what it
little-
is.
it is.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my only question.
I mean, on a lot of documents, it'll say like Berkshire SS. I don't know why it's blank here, but maybe it's something different.
No,
Um,
I got another one.
any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Bob, can we send that? meantime, while that's coming around, let's move on to the agreement between the town of Williamstown and the town of Lanesboro. This is our shared services provision of planning and land use services, which is to say, sharing Andrew.
Mostly me. Same agreement you've seen for the last several years. No real changes. We just have increased the fee based on the cost of living increase that was approved by the annual town meeting for town hall staff. So that's really the only change. And I can actually, in our next agenda item, I think regional cooperation is one of our master plan implementation items. So I can give you guys an update on the progress we've made down there too, which is good for Williamstown as well, because we are married forever in our regional school district.
Any questions for Andrew on the intermunicipal agreement between Williamstown and Lanesboro for planning and land use services? Then we would need to move to adopt this agreement.
I move that we adopt the intermunicipal agreement between town of Williamstown and the town of Lanesboro.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes unanimously. We need to sign that one as
Yeah,
well, right?
coming your way now.
Great. All right. Next up, we have the town manager and community development director's update on priorities from their perspectives.
Let's go to make one.
Coincidentally, he's already standing there.
Yep. Just make one quick change to
Quick
this
look.
and we'll be good to go.
Have you seen Local Hero?
Huh?
Have you seen Local Hero?
There we go.
Movie?
Long time
Is that the
ago.
one from?
Long time ago.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's like
That's
where
really
the same guy is doing
Oh.
running all the shops. And
There we go. Okay. So back again to talk about what we're doing this coming fiscal year on master plan implementation, and because that document, that's our guide for the next few years on what we are supposed to be achieving in local government. So folks might remember this from last year, the kind of wheel from the plan that brings all the major subject items together. This fiscal year, we're focusing really on 5 kind of key broad topic items. Housing policy, being driven by the planning board. Economic development, which is also called economic diversification in this planning document. We'll talk more about that a little bit. Regional cooperation, we just did a big piece of that. Parks, which is we've got some exciting stuff to update on. But first, we're going to talk about transportation planning. So the big grant we received last year, $500,000 from the Community One-Stop Program. That's going to get us started on looking at the Main Street corridor through the campus for a complete streets grounded redesign. So complete streets principles are about changing the design of your street infrastructure so you're sharing that space across multimodalities, making it safer for pedestrians and for vehicular users. Anybody in Williamstown who's ever driven down Route 2 during class changes knows there's a lot of conflicts there. We're looking at reducing those conflicts. That corridor needs to be safer. One of Williams's recent planning efforts, they did a major campus landscape study back in 2019, and that looked at burying the utilities. So we're going to study that with their participation as part of this project. And actually what's great tonight is we've hired VHB to lead this effort. So Amanda Bazinet from VHB is on Zoom. If Bob could promote her over. She's going to give everybody a little update on this project, and then I can talk some more about some of our other longer-term transportation priorities. So we'll get Amanda over and.
Not, we have a written document, but not the.
I had Linda upload this this afternoon
AG
too.
to SB.
Yep.
Thank you.
Snuck it in.
Hi, thank you very much for having me this evening.
Thank you.
I'm going to try and share my screen, so hopefully that works. Please let me know when you can see.
We can see it now.
Awesome. So I'm here to give you a brief update of where we're at with our one-stop grant and project update for Main Street for the corridor improvements that we're looking to do in your community. So we have, as our project team, obviously the proponent is the town. We've been working with Andrew on this, and I am Amanda Bazinet. I'm a PE and a project manager here at VHB, and working with my boss, Matt Chase, who's the director for our municipal services and PE and PTOE. He's unable to join me this evening, but our project goals are one of the things I want to go over with you, as well as kind of complete streets, the Mass DOT process, the work we've completed so far, as well as the next steps to kind of give you a big overarching picture. Our project limits. We're looking at approximately 3/4 of a mile along the Main Street Route 2 corridor, starting from Cold Spring Road, Route 7, down to the intersection of Water Street, which is also Route 43. So the area highlighted in red up in the screen, that is approximate project limits that we're considering right now. Why is this project needed? So as Andrew mentioned, we're looking at it through a complete streets lens. Right now, the existing sidewalks and ramps are not compliant with current ADA and AAB requirements. There's some issues with the accessible routes. These are just a couple of examples of existing pedestrian curb ramps or stairs that lead to crosswalks. So we would be looking along the whole corridor and assessing areas where we can improve the pedestrian walkways and accessible routes, as well as creating all new pedestrian curb ramps that are going to be fully compliant with current guidelines. In addition, we want to look at improving the bicycle accommodations and connectivity along this route. Right now, there are no separate bicycle accommodations along this stretch of the corridor. And at the intersection of Main Street and Water Street, it's actually a top bicycle crash cluster. So we'll be taking a close look at the intersection and holding a road safety audit to look at what improvements we can make to improve the safety along this corridor for bicyclists.
Amanda, can I ask a question?
Sure.
What did you mean by a bicycle crash cluster or something?
Okay, so Mass DOT has, it's called the Impact Tool, and in it, they track all of the crashes across the whole state. And then they look at what ones are really high statewide, what ones are high for the region, what ones are high for the town. And that particular intersection for the town and for your region has a higher than usual amount of crashes happening for bicyclists. So that usually indicates that there's something going on with the geometry or the sight lines. And so we want to take a look at it and improve the safety there, because there's clearly a higher than average amount of crashes happening there.
Thank you.
No problem. So our project goals, in addition to the increased pedestrian and bicycle accommodations, is just in general improving the sight lines and improving the intersection geometry, looking at improving and extending the pedestrian accommodations, curb ramps, bicycle accommodations, and then also taking a look at the traffic circulation along the corridor. So from a complete street standpoint, it has a lot of different facets to it. So as Andrew had mentioned, the goal is to improve the safety for all of the roadway users, not just the motorists. We're looking at improving it for pedestrians, bicyclists, from a transit perspective, anyone who's using a mobility device. We want to create streets that are safe for all ages and abilities to use. So while bicyclists will still be allowed legally to use the roadway, we want to look at providing a separate bicycle accommodation along the corridor, whether it's a shared use path along both sides of the streets that is a little bit more accessible for, you know, young children or older people with disabilities, to look at supporting all different transportation options. So we want to make sure that this project is also encouraging active transportation. Mass DOT, who ultimately we would like to get funding from for the construction, has a healthy transportation policy. So all of this fits in with their healthy transportation policy and promoting walking and biking as an everyday travel choice. By improving the connectivity, we're helping people reach the schools and their jobs and your businesses and any destinations. And you have a lot of destinations along this corridor, and a lot of pedestrians and everyday users with the college on both sides of the street as well. Another goal of Complete Streets is to promote equity. So we want it to be accessible regardless of income, ability, travel mode, and one of the other benefits of Complete Streets is it helps with economic benefits by providing access, better access to your commercial areas and businesses. Obviously, you have Spring Street right off of Main Street here, so you have several businesses that would be positively impacted by improving the connectivity along this corridor. Another thing we want to do is improve the crosswalks and sidewalks and add in some traffic calming along the corridor. And it is also, by being a Complete Streets project, opens up other potential funding sources for you. While we aren't necessarily chasing it down, there is a potential for additional funds that can come through Complete Streets and other grants by making sure that we incorporate this as part of the design. So to date, as Andrew mentioned, we've received the One Stop grant and we've initiated the project. We've started doing our environmental due diligence and we did our wetland delineation. There's really not a lot of resource areas along this corridor, but the Green River does take a nice little bend and gets really close to our project limits, particularly on Water Street. So we've started that. We've also initiated all of our survey and completed the field work, and we're working on researching the right-of-way along the corridor. We've ordered the traffic counts, although those won't be happening until the fall when schools are back in session so that we get better traffic data and volume information. We've started our crash review and collision diagram preparation. That's all going to be needed for us to hold a road safety audit along the corridor. And we've started data collection with the goal of doing project initiation through MapIt, which is the Massachusetts project intake tool. I'm just going to give you a little overview of that because I don't know if you're familiar with it, but essentially, it is Mass DOT's portal that they use for when we're scoping and developing a project. And we have to go through this process if we want to initiate a project with Mass DOT and eventually go for TIP funds. So we're in step one, which is project scoping. We have to develop our concept and prove why this project is needed. We'll be working on step two over the next month, because we need to make sure that this information is all entered into the MapIt intake tool. And DOT meets 3 times a year to review the information that goes into this portal and determine which projects they want to give project numbers and potentially fund in the future. So after we get through step 2, which is kind of inputting all the information, all the data we've collected, we will have a pre-PRC meeting with Mass DOT and the district. And then we would do an official, like step 3 is having that meeting and going through it and defining the project scope, having an order of magnitude cost to discuss with Mass DOT, project timeline, and define every responsibility of the project. If we get through that step in districts like, great, we support this, they will then present it to project review committee. There's 3 different times of the year that they meet. They've already met in April. They'll be meeting again in September and again in December. And our goal is to get in front of them this September. So we'll be hopefully having our pre-PRC meeting in August. And then once PRC reviews it, they will determine if they approve it and then send the town a letter stating the requirements of the town, your responsibilities, and assigning it a project number and a Mass DOT project manager. So after the MapIt process is complete, you're not guaranteed to be placed on the TIP. Then it falls to the town to advocate for this project. You would have to go to your MPO, BRPC, and ask for funding through the regional TIP. So the TIP is eligible for any project that meets their guidelines. It has to have pedestrian and bicycle accommodations to be considered for the TIP. It has to be a road that is part of the federal aid system. So any public roadway except like locally classified roadways or rural minor collectors, which isn't the problem with Main Street. And then the TIP is actually planned in 5-year increments. So right now they've already planned out from 2027 all the way to 2031. So we would be looking to get added to 2032 potentially, and funds might become available sooner, but no guarantees. Sometimes project schedules slide, but that's kind of the overarching timeline. TIP projects take a really long time to get through the design process and to get funding.
And for folks that aren't familiar with some recent past TIP projects we've done, these are projects that are just too big for the town to take on our own. We need MassDOT to lead the effort and to access the federal funding that the MPO, Berkshire Regional Planning, has access to every year to program the TIP. So the last two big TIP projects done in Williamstown was the redesign of Water Street and the bike path. So that's the scale we're looking at here, and that's why we're going through this process with MassDOT.
So at the bottom, it says the municipality Chapter 90 program funds can be used to cover the design and engineering costs. So that's not what we're doing now?
So what we're doing right now is we wrote a grant through the Community One Stop program last June, and we're awarded funding towards the end of calendar 2025. We selected VHB essentially because they've done so much work on transportation on the Williams campus already and are deeply familiar with the region. Amanda's done a number of projects in North Adams, Lee, and other communities. And I think we got you under contract in April, and we're using that money to start. Now that money's not going to get us to full design to be on the TIP. It's going to get us partway there.
Okay.
But as Amanda's slide notes, there's other sources. We will be looking at other grants, probably Complete Streets funding, as Amanda noted. We are matching the current grant funding with some Chapter 90. We'll probably continue to utilize Chapter 90. Craig Clough at DPW has been very supportive of trying to use that money to leverage other money. But also, we've had deep discussions with Williams about this. This is their front lawn. They have a vested interest in this corridor and in pedestrian and bicycle improvements that'll make their students and staff and faculty safer. So I do think, we don't know what it looks like yet, but there will be some support from Williams for continued design money.
Yeah. And I just wanted to point that out there, that the TIP right now primarily is for covering the cost of construction. A lot of the MPOs are starting to set aside a portion of their federal funds to help with design, but there's not a large budget there. So the majority of the design costs still fall to the municipality to cover, whether it's through grants or other funding sources. So I just wanted to kind of make note of that, because it is a big process, and you would still be responsible for the design and the permitting and the right-of-way acquisition process. So
But that 500,000 gets us it gets us a really good head start.
Yes, it does. So this kind of is the overall design process. We're up here in the project initiation, project development, going through the map it process, and then starting that coordination process with BRPC to get hopefully your project on the TIP. The grant actually takes us all the way through the next bullet as well: preliminary engineering, the early environmental coordination, and getting to kind of the first big milestone with MassDOT, which is submitting our pre-25% design and having an over-the-shoulder meeting to discuss the concepts before we move on to 25% design. After your pre-25% design goes in and you get the approval and we have our over-the-shoulder, then the next big submission is your 25% design submission, your preliminary right-of-way, your public hearing, all of that public outreach and public comment period. Once you get through that, then you go on to final design, which is broken into several smaller submissions. You'll have a 75%, a 100%, and a PS&E, a plan, spec, and estimate. That's the stage where you would go through and get any environmental permitting that's required and finalize the right-of-way process and acquisition process. That's all before you get to your final review, prep of bid documents, project bid, award, and construction. And that's where MassDOT really takes over from there, from a process of, like, they'll put out the bid, they will do the award, they will have a resident engineer on site for construction, and then they'll be paying the bills for the construction. So next steps, we're focusing right now on getting through the map it process and project initiation. We'll be working with the town on pulling together any of the documents needed for that. We'll be working with the town, helping to make sure that this is in front of BRPC as they start their TIP planning, which will begin again in December, January. They start looking at the next round of TIP projects. We will have to get going on our intersection control evaluation and have a meeting with Mass DOT for scoping. We're planning on conducting a road safety audit, as I mentioned, specifically at that intersection with Water Street, where there are high incidence of bicycle crashes. And then the deliverables for us are submitting this pre-25% design and the draft design justification workbook to Mass DOT and getting to that over the shoulder meeting. So like that's our big goal with this grant. So I know I threw a lot of information at you just now. So if you have any questions about anything that I just discussed, please, throw them out there. I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Could you email that slide, well, the whole presentation?
I can send the whole presentation over to Andrew and share it with all of you, if that would be helpful.
Yes, thank you. No, it was just a little hard to follow because the writing was so small.
Yeah, I really
I'm
wanted
sorry.
It's okay.
give a really broad overview so everybody understood
Yes.
what our goals are, where we have to go, and the challenges to get through there. So yeah, lots of information.
That's great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
sorry. I know I threw a lot at you.
No, that was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
You too.
Thanks, Amanda.
You too.
So-
I just had a quick
Yes,
question.
of course.
What is the dimensions of the right of way, or how many feet? Like, does the town own versus the college?
The
from
town's-
road?
We own a lot.
we can take a look at that too here.
I was just curious what falls under town and what falls under.
Luckily, we
college.
have these wonderful property maps.
Oh yes, I love these.
For folks that are unaware, the corridor through the college campus is actually the original town green. So it's this very wide corridor here.
Yes.
Now, what Amanda said, they were starting the research for right-of-way layout. This might be an issue that comes back to the select board at some point, because this is original to the first land grants in Williamstown, that green layout. They cannot find any documentation of it at the registry of deeds. It goes back that far. So we might actually have to do a formal layout process at some point, but that's farther down the road. So generally speaking, well, at least the area we've always agreed on, because so this is kind of undefined. As you can see, the sidewalks,
Yeah.
that's kind of roughly where we've always said. And this has really only come up in the last few years on our street tree program, working with Felicity and her team on campus. Whose trees are what?
It's just about, it's this orange line up here, right? So
It's the two orange lines.
Almost to the front door of every college.
Yeah, so
building along the
you go
back.
all the way back to when Williams was brand new. The West College is actually on the town's right of way.
Yeah. But on the other side, it looks like it's very evenly mapped almost to the line.
So there is an enormous amount of space to utilize in here for different treatments, accessibility, possible bike alternatives, and hopefully more trees. Because
So those stairs that she showed that are at the top or by West, or across from the president's
Mhm.
house, those are owned by the town fully? Or is that?
there's a lot of infrastructure in there that is in our right of way that was probably built by Williams at some
Right.
point in the past. I would venture to guess those stairs were probably built by
I
Williams.
just always assume that.
They
But-
are within the town's layout.
Yes, they are
So-
well within the layout.
Right.
So,
Right.
so you would need to make that crossing accessible when we go to redesign that area.
And that's something the college is aware of too. They've been doing a lot of transportation work and internal planning work, and that they've identified that particular crosswalk is an issue.
Yeah.
And there's also sightline problems there as well. So
Yes.
there's other issues that we need to address.
I mean, that's a really steep slope there. It's hard to imagine how you could, like, you might want to just move that crossing someplace else. Is that like the kind of thing that might happen, or?
I'd say.
Go ahead, Andrew, sorry.
I think overall, and this is something Amanda and I have discussed, this might result in fewer overall crosswalks
Right,
and more concentration of pedestrians at certain points.
yeah.
The eastern end of this is at Water Street?
Yes, because actually, I don't know if you can see it on this map, but no, it doesn't have a good representation of it. The state layout actually is stops here. If you drive, next time everyone's driving down Route 2, you'll know that if you look for it, you'll see the state highway layout sign,
Oh, really?
and that's why it stops there.
What does that mean, the state
The
layout?
state takes over control of Route 2, starting here-ish. They have a layout I don't know the history of this, but they have a layout of their highway inside the town green.
So the state maintains that bit of
Correct.
Route
The
2.
signal, for instance, is maintained by the state. The bridge project that was just done, that was a state project.
But Main Street east of that sign is maintained by the town, except for the bridge and the stoplight, is that what you're saying?
No, from that sign, by provisions,
Right,
all the way to North Adams to the east is state highway. It's all maintained by Mass DOT.
Got it.
And owned by Mass DOT. From that sign west, it's town highway until,
My house.
I was gonna say right near Matt's house. I think the sign's across the street from your house, including the traffic circle.
There's some very weird things like that. Water Street, for example, is the state until you get out to
Five Corners.
and then it turns back to
Right.
the town.
Yeah, there's some historical oddities, let's say.
Yeah. So do you think you'll do something with that,
With this area?
the traffic circle-y thing in front of Bud's Dentist? Or you just don't know yet
Well,
how that might turn out?
I'll turn to Amanda, but I think we're in survey and data gathering mode. We
Right.
haven't started
Yes.
making hard decisions
Right.
yet.
We haven't laid out a concept yet, but one of the things that we will be doing as we go along the corridor, it is a requirement of any projects that go through Mass DOT is an intersection control evaluation. So we'll have to take a look at any of the intersections along the corridor where we think that the volumes exceed 1,000 vehicles a day, or if there's concerns that come up as part of the road safety audit as far as intersection geometry or safety. So we will certainly take a look at all these areas along the corridor as we gather data and go out and do our site walks and field evaluations.
And
So-
is there a
Go ahead.
public outreach or input from the public stage?
Oh, we're absolutely going to build in some
Yes.
significant
Okay.
public input to this.
so
Yes.
so the Cole Main Street intersection is not, we can't wrap that up into this?
Probably not.
Okay.
I mean, we can.
Yeah.
There's going to be some probably discussion on the margins when we get into the MassDOT process and start talking to them about their roads, but yeah.
Okay, all right, because that's a tricky,
And-
for pedestrians and
The
bicyclists.
whole thing's tricky, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. And when we have our scoping meeting with Mass DOT, I wouldn't be surprised if our project limits come up as part of the discussion. But just from a perspective of Mass DOT owns that portion of Main Street and Route 2. So ideally, you want them to pay for that design and fix that and not have it come out of your budget. So we would definitely be more than willing to incorporate it as part of the project, but our first goal was to address the town's layout and then use the funds that you've got to work on the pieces that you are controlling.
Okay.
We should probably stop on that item for now. And
Yeah, I
obviously
think that's good.
We'll keep coming back to it.
Oh, and
but
I
think we've
I
got
plan to
most-
come and give
Yeah.
everyone updates when the time's right.
Thank you.
And
Definitely want-
obviously, I'm happy to come back whenever you need me. So,
So first of many updates, but just an opportunity to let everybody know what we're doing with that grant funding. So,
That's exciting.
yep. All right, but before
thank you
I
again, everyone.
Thank you, Amanda.
just before I get off transportation too, there's other stuff that's going on that we're just continuing to slowly pursue the goals that are in the master plan. So we talked about the Complete Streets funding program. That has actually just opened up and become a little easier to utilize. You don't have to have a continually updated prioritization plan, so you can start to look at stuff that just might come up that we need to focus on. So we did get some grant money to fix the sidewalks on Park Street that are that head down the hill towards through Mission Park to Syndicate Road that are in such bad condition. So DPW is working on bid specs for that. That's just one example of some of the stuff like small stuff will continue to follow these principles that are in our master plan as we move forward. But long term, I think Main Street is just, that's the main east-west corridor through town. We have another east-west corridor through town at North Hoosick Road that is fully town right away. That's also gonna need some complete streets improvement in the future. But I think we're gonna look at Main Street first for a lot of reasons, but we're not gonna forget about the north side of town as well. All right, so the planning board's big project they've been working on lately is addressing housing policy in Williamstown through a number of lenses, principally right now through the subdivision rules, road standards, and acceptance procedures. They've recently wrapped up a grant that was awarded to us 2 years ago, and through BRPC, and BRPC's hired us a sub-consultant, Dodson and Flinker out of Northampton. We have now a completely revised, but not finalized set of subdivision regs that we are going to propose for adoption. And the regulation process, that's not town meeting. The planning board can propose that and adopt those regulations on their own. We're looking at hoping to adopt that sometime in the fall, once some final tweaking's done. Then all reports will come back to this board regarding your regs on road acceptance and street construction standards and how we can make sure they are in alignment. And also, I'd expect at annual town meeting next year, there's a laundry list of zoning changes that are going to be necessary to make this function the way it should. And the state has actually just recently tossed a number of changes to the Zoning Act in different pieces of legislation. There are some in the budget that recently passed. There's some more coming in both the Environmental Bond Bill and the Economic Development Bond Bill. And there's a ballot initiative that might have some significant impacts on local zoning as it relates to housing. So I just be prepared. There's probably going to be a number of housing-related zoning proposals at our annual town meeting next year. And this map here is from our recent last meeting with the folks from Dodson at the end of June. This is kind of where we're moving towards in thinking about subdivisions. That there's really kind of two typologies in Williamstown. There's all of our rural neighborhoods that are not served by public water and sewer utilities, and there's the town center, which is where you can have more walkability, more density. You don't need septic systems and wells. So we're really looking at kind of two sets of rules for two distinctly different areas. Does anybody have any questions about this before I
So
jump
in
to
the
next?
town center, that would not include anything that's rural residents at the moment?
Right now, town center is defined as the mixed-use business zone, so that's why it extends down Cold Spring Road a little bit. And general residence, which is really contemporaneous with the extent of our water sewer system.
Right.
Because we know that the soil conditions when you get out of that area vary so wildly. Some you can perk, and some it's just impenetrable clay.
And so is the planning board going to recommend to the select board road standards and acceptance procedures? Because those
Yes.
fall under the select board
Correct.
regulations. So
We're-
they're
we're
going to make a
we're gonna
recommendation to us?
Yeah, once we get through our process, we're going to make some recommendations to your board.
Okay,
That's the plan.
sounds good.
Great. So we hope I know we've had some active discussions involving those rules and regs, both at this board and at planning board. And we're hoping to learn from those recent issues and make some appropriate changes.
Okay.
Another big one, economic development, diversification. There's really kind of two twin efforts here. One, our map is from planning board member Corey Campbell's recent work on looking at, can we do a form-based approach in our business districts to really make them more mixed use and try to allow a new diversity of development there. I really felt that we needed some assistance, so reached out to colleagues and started looking at what Pittsfield did with their downtown form-based district, which has had some recent successes. And talking with their consultants, I thought bringing them in would be a really good way to get started and give us a grounding in this new framework of form-based code. And we did write a grant application to the Community Planning Grant Program from Executive Office of Environmental Affairs, Eco One Stop. It was back in March. Unfortunately, we have not heard from them yet. Saw some colleagues from regional planning and some other communities in Southern Berkshire County on Friday at a state meeting, and they also are in the same boat. So I'm cautiously optimistic that we'll get the funding to pursue that project. I think that could be really transformative, particularly for, it's like the neighborhood, some of the neighborhood business districts. Also, I'm talking a lot with folks in senior leadership at Williams, particularly Gina Puck, who I'm sure most folks know, about the evolution of what the town gown group that has met over the years might look like. And one thought is, we have some new leadership at the Clark, and pivoting towards thinking about how we can all work together, the big institutions, business community, and town government on this major issue. So I think we're going to try to pivot that group, include the Clark more, and really have that be the discussion point. So we're hoping to start those conversations in the fall, but one of the things we're looking for this evening would be for if 2 select board members have an interest in that and would like to participate. We'd love to have your assistance moving forward.
I would like to participate.
Yes.
Probably all are.
I think we all are.
Everybody wants to.
Yes. What's the town gown?
Historically, there was a group that would meet quarterly that would just talk about issues where Williams and the town have intersecting responsibilities, but since the pandemic, it has just kind of lagged and not been as, there's been a lot of turnover. It just has been less functional than it used to be. So it's time for something new.
So I'm hearing 2 different issues here.
A couple of different issues that they're combined,
One's about
right?
zoning and one's about actually
One's
how
about-
do we interest
Yes.
people in developing,
Yes.
doing some actual development.
But
And
they interrelate in the sense of the zoning should
Right.
enable the other work to be successful. They don't work without each other.
Right.
Yeah.
But what you're looking for are board members to help more on the, how do we encourage people
Yes.
to come here?
Like, how do we, let's learn about what's the Clark's intention with their expansion, what's the programming intention with Wickham, how do we leverage that in bringing more economic activity here?
Mhm.
Just one example, there's many.
Yeah.
So you don't have to make a decision tonight, but we're just
And what kind
putting
of,
that out there.
what kind of time commitment? Do you have any idea on that?
Not quite sure yet. I don't think it's much different than what folks might have remembered from the kind of the old format.
What old format?
Every couple of months, just, one select board member sitting down with folks from the college.
Well, you probably guess I'm definitely interested.
Okay, great.
I'm sure everyone realizes that.
I mean, do you want to fight about it?
No, I don't want to fight.
No, but I would like to be part of that too.
Okay.
I mean, does anybody else want to, or?
Yeah, I think everyone's going to be involved in economic development at some
I
point,
think that
and
will too.
everyone needs to have some kind of
Well, and this could be
relationship with the college as well.
we can also,
So it's all
we can
gonna-
rotate people
yeah,
in
I
and out
think-
of this format
I think,
too.
right. I think we'll stay in touch and figure out a format that allows everyone to
participate
while having
Great.
some continuity as well.
Great, thank you.
So is this in addition to monthly lunches, or is this in lieu of that?
I think we're evolving towards it being in lieu of that.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so this is an exciting one. We know we need to make a bigger effort on Parks and Recreation, and Broadbrook is really our only true neighborhood park outside of like the elementary school area. So we're looking at sprucing it up. There was a survey that was launched earlier this year. The feedback we received was essentially, we like what's there, just fix it and make it nicer. And that's what this is attempting to do. So Craig Clough at DPW had some funding to use for design based on recommendations from some neighboring communities that have done recent parks work. We hired Berkshire Design out of Northampton, and this is their first attempt at a refresh for Broadbrook Park. So Craig and I are working on early September for some community outreach sessions to get some additional feedback, and Craig will be able to leverage that for some grant opportunities. Melissa Cryan at the State Conservation Office has been very helpful, and I think we have some good opportunity to get some funding from the Commonwealth for this project. We need some more input so we can bring the design further along, and then hopefully we'll get construction funding. But in addition to that, we're still working with our nonprofit partners, the folks at Purple Valley. They've made tremendous progress on skate park. we're working with them on looking at other things linearly we can put along the bike path. Lots of thoughts there, probably too early to share, just lots of brainstorming. And they're continuing to make a lot of progress up on Berlin Mountain with the expansion of their bike trail network. If folks haven't been up there, I'd encourage you to get out and check them out. They've done some pretty awesome stuff.
Could you just highlight the main features of
Sure.
what's going on in there?
So-
You know, I know it's like subject to
So
change,
we have
but just-
we have an existing basketball court. This turns it the opposite direction, levels it out better, and makes it more functional. The walking path provides ADA accessibility. This area in here kind of slopes down, and there's a lot of trees that are really at the end of their lifespan, some white pines in particular. But removes some of those and kind of terraces out with the playground to assist with accessibility. That moves the playground up away from the softball field, reinforces the softball field. That's been
So that pink circly thing, that's the little playground area?
yeah, that's the little
Okay.
playground area. With like one of those sunshades
Yeah.
over there too. So
Nice.
just trying to spruce it up and make it better and more functional and more welcoming.
It does seem sort of like the appropriate things for
Mhm.
like a closed-in neighborhood.
Like I said, we had a great survey response, and that's really what we heard
Yeah.
was, oh, we love this little park, but it's tired.
Yeah.
Give it some love.
Are those more parking spots? Or is that
It's-
the same number?
It's not really any change to the side of Harrison Avenue, but that's what Mike thought he could, our engineer, Michael Liu, thought he could fit there if you spread them out and define them and pave it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems
So it
to
actually, I think it's more.
be- Yeah, it seems
Yeah.
to be more.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to go there for an exercise, and quite a few cars got squished in on.
Yeah, I think it's one of the
Yeah.
challenges of,
If
they're
you
just
put the
not.
lines, it
they-
helps.
Yeah, they're not defined, so if
Yeah.
people get off alignment a little bit, it's like, you
Yeah.
can't really fit that many.
Nice. Okay.
All right. Regional cooperation is another big piece of our master plan. Obviously, we just approved our municipal with Lanesboro. That's great. Continuing our longstanding partnership, and we've made a lot of progress down there. There's good stuff happening, hopefully, with the Berkshire Mall property, and that, like I said, if they have positive economic development and good smart growth, that's better for Williamstown. It makes our school district stronger. So the other big part of regional cooperation we're doing right now is we are working with the Berkshire Regional Planning Commission to do the MVP 2.0 planning process. This is the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Program from the Commonwealth. We did 1.0 a number of years ago. That was really more infrastructure focused on planning for climate resiliency. This one is a little more social resiliency focused. So we're doing it jointly with Adams, North Adams, and Lanesboro. And right now what we're looking for is BRPC is out advertising for community liaisons. And those are people who are going to be brought in, paid a stipend for their services to really assist the municipalities and the Regional Planning Commission with getting feedback and input from our more vulnerable populations, which so frequently get lost in these discussions. And the process is designed so that bringing people in who might be connected with those communities will make people feel safer and more willing to participate and share. So that's where we are in that. So just getting underway right now. And the deadline for those are September 7th. So if anybody's got more questions about participating in that process, or you know someone who's interested, direct them to my office and we can work with them and
So you're
walk
looking
through
for
the
one
process.
person from Williamstown? Is that-
We're looking for a number of people from across the region, but we definitely need at least one person from each community.
Mhm.
But no, there's no requirement that,
Right.
North Adams has to have so many. Each town needs one, but the more important thing is what communities are we representing. And it's a small region, so particularly if there's people that have cross connections too. You live in North Adams, you work in Williamstown,
Mhm.
vice versa. There's lots of, we're looking for people with a diversity of experience and kind of geography in their life too. So hopefully that'll be a great effort, identify what we need to do in the future as a region to create resiliency, but it also keeps the town qualified for MVP grants, which are critically important for all sorts of reasons, from undersized culverts to our big problems in the Hoosick River, anything climate related. that's been a well-funded program historically, so another important reason to make sure we do this planning effort and stay qualified.
And so would organizations like NBCC be actively involved with this?
Absolutely. Courtney Morehouse, our planner from BRPC, who's leading this effort, I believe she's already been in contact with a number of those organizations, from NBCC to Hoorah and other community groups.
Mhm.
They'll be critically important. I think that's pretty much all the topics. So if anybody's any questions, I think there's quite a bit on our plates, and we're trying to move what the steering committee and the planning board set forth in envisioning Williamstown forward. It's just, this stuff takes a lot of time.
Yeah,
Andrew?
I was going through the comprehensive plan, just to get my head straight on where are we. We had a lot of discussion there about transportation and connecting, like the bike paths with other roads and stuff. So the Main Street Corridor project will obviously be part of that, but then there's still a gap from the bike path to.
Well, we know there's still a gap, but
Yeah.
because of the way things are structured, right, bureaucratically with Mass DOT and
Right.
TIP and the funding, which was, I hope, helpful for everybody to understand. From Amanda, I don't think we'll be able to include that in that particular
Right.
project, but if we get Main Street renovated in that manner, have those accommodations, it just makes the last connection to the bike path that much
Right.
more obvious, and then for that reason more easy to fund through various programs.
Right. And I'm probably too much in the weeds, but, recently there's been more attention on e-bikes, and we're seeing more and more of them around town. And, yeah, I'll be curious to see how that e-bikes are incorporated into the.
Well, and that's kind of an evolving
complete-
regulatory
I
world
know.
too. I'm sure if Chief Zimba was here, he could explain more about it. But
Yeah.
There's been some
It's an
state
interesting
law
issue.
It's, I think the good news for us is, public safety will have to step in and
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
something, and that'll
I know, we're
take
not
some
the only
pressure
community
off
dealing
of
with that. We
having
don't
to
have.
solve it, yeah.
no, it's happening to a number of communities in the region.
Yeah, but it's also, like, it makes you start thinking about how do we design our streets differently if these are all the vehicles.
Well, there
that we're
was a
gonna have on there,
recent
too.
state law change. What is it, 25 miles an hour or less?
Or
Something
even
like
less than that, I think, yeah. Anyway, okay, thank you very much.
Great.
Thank you, Andrew.
That was great.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have the town manager evaluation process, and Stephanie's going to kick that off.
I'm going to kick that off. So we're a little bit late doing the evaluation process. I think normally we try to do this every year. I don't know if it always happens every year. So I guess I have two questions for the group. I put a bunch of things in the packet, like the evaluation from the last time we did it, the process that the select board has gone through in the past, a peek at what some other towns have done. You certainly can Google and find all kinds of information about what towns do. So the two questions are, what do we want to do this year? Should we just stick with the process that we've done in the past? And do we want to make improvements and maybe consider doing that for next year's evaluation and take some time over the year to, look at how we are doing the evaluations and whether anything can be improved. So I can certainly go into more detail on what's been done in the past, but just to open it up for your thoughts.
What has been done in the past?
Well, the two that I was involved with, each of the select board members talked to people who were involved with town government, whether it's employees, people on other committees, community members, and then we all summarized what we thought and what the input that we had from the people that we spoke to, and submitted that to the chair, who then summarized everybody's comments, and then we had a brief discussion. Oh, the town manager also did a self-evaluation. We had a relatively brief public discussion, and then, I think each of the select board members maybe talk to you individually too at some point. I think Jeff had asked us to do that, I don't know, it's been 2 years now. But generally, it's like up to the chair to then communicate any more detailed information to the town manager. Open meeting law requires us to do this kind of work in public, so that's why we do it that way. Some towns have more, you know, kind of structure on these are the things we're gonna evaluate and we're gonna score all these elements. I think it's a little hard to do that at the end of a year if you haven't kind of communicated that to the manager at the beginning of the year.
Thank you.
Other thoughts, questions for Stephanie? She's been looking into it for us for the last couple weeks.
Do you feel like there needs to be any changes to the normal evaluations that you've been part of previously?
Yeah, I'm not sure I have enough experience with it to say that definitively. I think if we were gonna change anything, it would be to be a little bit more explicit upfront on, you know, what we'd like to see for the priorities over the coming year, and then be able to make sure that we support the staff in doing that work, and then, you know, checking in on how it went at the end of the year. You know, on the other hand, I think we have enough discussions throughout the year on what we'd like to see that, you know, maybe we don't need to be that explicit.
So has there been a process of goal setting from the select board to the town manager that we then come back to as part of the review process? Has that been?
Not that I have seen,
Okay.
but maybe Bob can answer that.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things. I think there's some history to the structure. I think my impression is, you know, when we settled into it, it was, yeah, we should do something. So quickly, it's like this time of year. Let's make sure we say something to at least memorialize something. But it wasn't really a long-term, well thought out, here's some concrete things, here's what's attainable, that kind of thing. I also think the history of the transition that happened at the time, I think there was a big focus on understanding where town employees were at. I think there was a lot of disruption, and they wanted to make sure that employees felt safe, that there was trust. So I think there was a high emphasis on that, interviewing staff, things like that. Probably erring more in that direction because of that history, versus straight into, look, we gotta get this, you know, we gotta get this culvert fixed, period, you know, kind of thing. So, so I think there's some context of what was happening at the town at the time, in combination of the pandemic and all of that, that was just creating a lot of uncertainty.
Okay.
The other thing that I experienced is when, you know, you're talking to other people about, you know, what they think about the performance, like a lot of people have different opinions on what they think somebody should be doing in their job, so some of it is a little bit you know, what do you do with that, right? They think the town manager should be doing X, and maybe that's really not part of their job, so unless we're kind of specific about what we think the performance should be. One thing that I found interesting in looking at other towns is they had, you know, kind of criteria, a lot of it very general, but at least it gives you, you know, some ideas of, it's a big, complex job, right? So it's, I think, very difficult to nail down exactly.
Yeah. And I think it's just, in good times, we can be very intentional and planful, and we know that's just not how the world goes. It's whether there's a climate issue that affects our culverts, whether there's a pandemic that suddenly blows everything up. So, you know, it's either we've got a small window of being very intentional, or we're managing chaos because there's stuff coming at us. Some of it is just what Andrew was saying, like the Main Street's, you know, project, the thing that we're thinking about, is partly of the flavor of where's where is the money kind of thing. It's like, we might want to do A, but there's funding for B. We encounter that a lot, and I think there's some challenges with goal setting versus there isn't money to do what we really want to do, but we know there's a ton of funding that's been prioritized for, you know, climate resiliency some years ago. Like, okay, everything's focused on that. No, suddenly there's no money for that. What do we do? So we pivot. So
Right.
some of it's a little hard to be super intentional about. It's you know, the dynamic nature of. Main thing is, I think, as Stephanie's saying, just being. Can you be flexible and pivot?
Right. Is there a part of the process where the town manager creates a self-evaluation that could be for us, both giving us a window into his own idea of how the year has progressed?
That
From his
has
perspective.
been a part of it each year.
Yeah. If you looked at the notes, there is a package in there that describes what the select board has done, or at least said that we're going to do.
Yeah, I just took a quick look.
Yeah, so each select board member prepares their evaluations of the town manager addressing 6 categories: general management, personnel management, financial management, planning, interorganizational collaboration, and community outreach. And, you know, we wouldn't necessarily have knowledge of all those things, so we'd have to talk with other people. And the town manager should submit a self-assessment to the board within 2 weeks of the start, and then the select board members submit their evaluation to the chair 3 weeks after the start. And then the chair prepares an evaluation based on everybody's comments.
And the evaluation is public? All right, so once we give Peter, I mean, do we all wanna follow this process as it states, or do you wanna switch it up?
I mean, I think it would be great to have a conversation, like
Yeah.
a working conversation of what are the actual things that we're interested in
Yeah.
evaluating. Like, I mean, we do that a little bit. We do the retreat. I think it's just codifying that everybody
Right.
sort of signs off. We take a vote. It's like, yes, that is actually it. You know?
Yeah, I'm sort of thinking of 2 phases, like somehow we should make some comment about what happened last year, and it's a little too late to come up with goals, but then in parallel with that, say, hey, let's have some broad goals for next year.
Yeah.
And then,
No, I think
then
it's-
that can help inform our evaluation at the end
Next
of,
year, right.
of next year.
You feel like it's too late for goals?
For last year? Yeah,
No,
because
no,
it's done.
I mean for this year.
No,
That's why I thought.
no, this is a good time.
Okay, because you didn't say it, that's why I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you meant
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
year.
I think it's late for goals, but feedback, still getting feedback from
Yeah.
the year, just in a broad context of like, hey, we noticed this, or we love that. That's
Right.
certainly helpful.
Yeah.
And it's, saying we expected X and didn't get it, that would be not great. That would be a kind of cheap shot, but like just to say, hey, look, this is what's,
We expected a mind reader now.
there's some strengths, there's some opportunities.
When do we usually start the process in the past year? Is it, are we late this year, or
No, I think
does it usually happen in the fall?
No, I think this is timely.
Okay.
I think like the goal is probably to do it, you know, kind of at the end of our sort of operational year, which
Yeah.
we're like maybe a month past that.
Right.
But things often slide and we go.
Mhm.
It's hard to do it then because, you know, that's all the,
Because we didn't do an evaluation last year, correct?
last year, I believe we
not.
did not.
Okay. Because I
I don't know what you mean by last year, but we didn't do one in the spring. And Jane was the chair, I think, the previous year, and
Mhm.
she didn't kick it off, so it didn't happen.
All right.
So we're trying to get back
Mhm.
into doing what we should do.
We didn't do one last year, right, Peter? Or Matt?
I think, yeah, Matt
I
had a couple months.
You've never been
And
involved
I
with one.
haven't seen them.
yeah,
Oh,
we definitely
Did we?
well we had discussions certainly,
Mhm.
and we gave feedback.
Mhm.
Not
I don't know, the
necessarily
years are all blurred together.
following this.
Yeah.
You know, I can't recall the.
I think we had
the
last year, did we have to
format.
renew the contract or something?
Yeah, we had to renew the contract, and as part of that, there was evaluation.
I know, but I don't think we went through this whole
No, I don't
process.
think we went through this
Yeah.
process. I'm
Yeah.
just saying there was an
Yeah, there was
discussion
discussions.
around the contract renewal.
Okay.
Yeah. So, well, I would suggest then that we, kick off this process and maybe at the next meeting, talk about
Mhm.
goals.
Yeah, that's a pretty thorough, that outline that you provided.
Yeah, like we can just follow
Yeah.
this year. The other thing that, I remember when Jeff was doing this, like we each told the chair who we were gonna talk to, so it wouldn't be multiple people
Right.
talking to the same person.
Yeah, 2024 was the last one I remember seeing.
Mm.
Yeah,
So it would have missed 25. and
Yeah.
Now we're
Yeah.
26.
yeah.
Two of us are able to talk to the same person, no?
What do you mean?
So if you want each of us to tell Peter, who we are speaking to about this evaluation, we can't, there can't be two people, I'm asking?
Oh, we should all tell Peter,
Yes.
yeah, if that's what you
Should
mean.
all be-
But I meant like if
Thank
you,
you.
if you wanted to
Peter-
talk to.
Yeah, Peter answered,
Bob.
Bob answered it. He said we should all be unique.
The
Speak
people that
to.
we speak to get
Yes.
input, but then we all tell Peter
Right, but-
who we're gonna talk
Yeah,
to.
Bob answered
Yeah.
the question.
Yeah. Peter, thoughts?
Yeah, that sounds fine. We'll each make a list of people, and then I'll take a look and tell people who their duplicates, so that they can try and find
Mhm.
someone else to speak to.
Mhm.
And that makes an interview pool of 25. I think going forward, we should come up with itself a rubric to make sure that people from different schools of interaction with the town
Right.
manager are represented, so that it's not,
So you could do that a little bit when we're telling you who we're
yeah, but
gonna
I
talk
think
to.
we should.
Yeah.
I will, but I
Yeah.
think we should do it on
Yeah.
purpose. We should have
Okay.
ideas about we want to make sure at least 5 of the 25 work in town hall. At least 5 of the 25 are volunteers on boards. At least 5 of the 25 feel like you can't have someone who's got no interaction
Right.
with
Right.
the town manager, because then they have nothing to offer in terms of,
We have to talk to 5 people each.
or whatever number we say, 3, 2.
I mean,
Just write your evaluation.
Yeah,
I'm like,
speak to somebody, right?
And would it be people that on some level have a formal relationship with the town manager as opposed to people in town who might have an interaction with him because they're at a
So that's what I'm saying. I think we should have a more intentional discussion
Yeah.
about who we want to be in that pool. Not perfectly 3 from this, 3 from this, 3 from this, but an idea that, because personally, no, I think someone who's had a bunch of interactions with our town manager but not a formal relationship is a good person to at least be one of your data points, and you could totally disagree with what they say, but it'd be a good data point.
Yeah.
I think anyone who has any kind of relationship or frequent interactions with a town manager is a good source for information.
Is there information shared? So if I have, a conversation with somebody who has interacted with Bob, is there information about who I spoke with going to be shared publicly?
I think if you include it as part of your evaluation by name, then it becomes the public document. But I think if you just use it to inform your own understanding and how you write your evaluation, then it probably wouldn't be. Because you're interviewing whatever it is, 3 people,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're writing a brief evaluation,
Yeah, I see what you're
and
saying.
then I'm taking 5 evaluations and just making a 1-page document
Okay.
that then is keyed to Bob's self-evaluation, so that the final result of it is a self-evaluation
Yes.
and a board evaluation that has been funneled from input we've received from different interviewees, plus our own
So when I did it,
sets of evaluation, then compiled as one.
when I did mine before, I did not say who said what.
Well, that's what I wanted to know, because
Yeah.
sometimes people just don't want their names involved, so I just wanted to make sure that wasn't going to be, if I don't say it, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
But did you use direct quotes or was it just a general sense?
No, it was just a general sense
Right.
kind of thing.
All right.
You're going to hear contradictory things.
Right.
But I think we should try some version of this, and we'll quickly realize what we thought was inadequate in that evaluation process and what we thought was overkill, and then we should adjust that for next
Right.
year. But I think providing even just a basic sense memorialized for the sake of Bob's own sense of a year's work, and just creating some kind of milestone that we can then use to measure next year.
And it's also
And
good.
any of those will be helpful. Anything would be helpful. I think like if we did nothing and just gave Bob 5 questions, you know, what are your goals for next year? Like, what were your goals for this past year? Like, what is making, you know, what do you think you achieved in the last year? Like, what got in the way of, you know, making that happen? How did you interact? Right? Like, we could come up with a list of 8 questions right now that would be useful. Even then, us just responding to that. Well, we think those are appropriate goals. We think those are good goals. We think you should add this as an important, right? Like, anything is going to be much more helpful than the non-evaluation that Bob got for his performance last year.
Right.
I'm sorry if I missed it. When would you like us to do these interviews by?
So in the protocol that was developed previously, it was like once you start the process, the town manager has 2 weeks to give us his self-evaluation, and
This
we
is
have.
usually the end of the year. So we're
Yeah.
talking like springtime in March or April, we would be doing all of this. You do, now we talk about the goal setting.
Oh.
Right, but we
okay.
also want to do this as if it were spring of last year.
Like, you want to do an evaluation from
I was thinking
of fiscal year 25 to 26.
Yeah, I thought.
Yeah, I don't love that. Like I said before, like strengths, opportunities, give me feedback, all of that. And to dive in a deep process where staff don't know where the select board was at, and you're asking them questions of like, hey, so did we hit it out of the park? And we're like, I don't know what you wanted. You know, it's just not fair. I mean, I whatever you want to do to get feedback, fantastic. But I think it's really like going forward is the aim. And I'm happy for folks who have experience to take that direct feedback from, say, the select board. If folks want to talk to people, great, but it just seems, I don't know, it seems disjointed, not fair to the staff.
Thoughts on that? Yeah, I'm actually, you know, for this summer, right now, I am fine with any version, including a version where, like, I put together and propose for this group's consideration, like, a list of 8 questions that we would want you to reflect on and answer, and then we also reflect on and answer, and that we have these 2 documents side by side to set aside for this year, and then
For this, you mean for like the past year?
yeah, for the past year that we've all experienced together. You
Right.
know, most of us have now been on this board for a year together, and I think having something where we're just each getting a chance to reflect on one page and then have a conversation where we say, all right, it looks like we were really aligned on how we both answered question 1 and thought that those were some of the highlights for us as well. And oh, we didn't realize that this was a pain point for you over the past year, and it's something we should. I do think that at a minimum we should do something like that, and I think it'd be good for us, and I think it'd be good also for you.
Okay.
If we don't want to do a whole like kickoff interview process, I'm also fine with that personally. I just want something that has a documented chance for you to reflect and a documented chance for us to reflect as short or as long as we want it to be personally.
That's definitely healthy.
So, just so that I'm clear, usually the evaluations happen in the spring.
Yeah, we goal set now.
Yes.
And then we check in towards the end of the year to say how'd it go.
Okay.
And I think, honestly, again, you know, I've seen different versions of it as well, but I do think that getting it on a rough annual calendar does both of those things at once, because I think as part of the evaluation, you're reflecting on your goals from that past year and how you met them or didn't, and you're proposing your goals for next year as well. I don't think it's 2 separate things necessarily. I think it's the same moment for reflection.
I see.
When you're thinking, and that way that recurring document gives you the opportunity to see like, oh, look, it looks like we've said that same goal 4 years in a row, but each year at the end of the year say we couldn't make it. So what's going on there? What's going on there? Is it an unrealistic goal? is something structural getting in the way here? Like, that's why I think having some continuity will be useful, and I'd rather kick it off
Well,
in
and I
some
think
format.
it's the momentum of that too, the diligence of the follow through, because you guys change up. And some years there's more of a change up than others, and the continuity can be like, hey, a bunch of new folks who have no idea, and being able to have that conversation in a timely way, you know, around that transition period.
But that's also why I think a simplified version has a better chance of not dropping like it has.
And
Because a simplified version, a new board of 3 can pick it up and see that they use this document with 8 questions. Oh, I hate that question. Let's add a new one. Fine. But it's something. It's something to work on. That isn't like, oh, didn't you know, like, the way we used to do it was we would interview 6 people, and you know, it's like some of that's a little bit getting lost in the lore.
yeah, and I mean, from what I have seen, this is what was done before without this goal setting, which I always kind of felt awkward about. And I also do want to really highlight it's not just about like, hey, Bob did do a good job, but it's really hard, I think, working for 5 people plus all those other people out there in the town. And so it's an opportunity for us to communicate amongst ourselves, like what we think as a group as well, and to communicate to our town what we'd like our town manager to do. So it's not just good Bob, bad Bob, but yeah, how are we working together and how do we support each other to get that work done. So we're gonna do the simplified version, Peter, is that
Well, I was just proposing
yeah.
that as an idea. I think again, the last one I see was from April 2024. So I think like, we don't need to rush into it, but I don't think we should let this one go into 2027. I think in 2027 we should have another one in the spring of 2027.
I see.
You know, after.
Yeah.
So you want questions? Is that the first step? Does everybody agree? Do we want to format some questions for Bob to answer?
But I thought Peter said he was gonna.
Oh,
I can
For-
like throw out an idea, you know, and then we can.
I think that's easier to do it that way.
Okay, I'll come up with something, and then it'll just be a rough draft for us to work around.
okay.
And it'd be something along the lines of an opportunity for Bob to reflect in, like, you know, short paragraph form self-evaluation, and for us to do work on a similar document from our perspective,
All right.
and then have a conversation. Now, I think regardless of where we end up with the interview process, I think, you know, whether that in the future is like a codified part of how
Right.
we do it, or like a strong encouragement from board to board that, like, before you write your evaluation, you should talk to, like,
Right.
we should talk to 3 different people each,
Okay.
so that it's not just. But I do think that the most important evaluation is our perspective. It better be informed by talking with people in this building, as we do, right, and other places. But, like, ultimately, we're the supervisory board over the town manager, and I think our evaluation, you know, not saying, well, these 3 other people told me this. It's like, you know, we have to stand by our own evaluation at the end of it, right? That's how I feel about it.
Right.
I felt a bit like some of the interviewing was just a bit of busy work. Like, I find people tell me what they're thinking all the time.
That's what I'm saying. You know, if we're like, if it dropped years,
Yeah.
like, one thing is, oh my goodness, how did that get dropped? We need to reinstate it exactly as it was. Another is, okay, that one, like, let's learn from it, but it died, and now, like, what do we want to do? But I think there's no I think we've got to we need to do something to mark a working year, and as appropriate responsible managers, like, give a short sentence of feedback and an opportunity for self-reflection. That's what I think.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do that, and then let's think about how we might want to improve it. And I think it's good to actually, like, document it so that it will be helpful to the next board, to, at least a starting point. And we should put it someplace. Like, I had to do a few emails to find out where is it written down what we do.
Right.
And so once we get it straightened out, we should make sure we put it in a place where the next new board will have it.
So the next meeting will be in September, correct?
We
No, I
skip
think-
August 10th, and then we have a meeting on August 24th.
Sorry, I forgot.
So, but no,
I was hoping to have August off.
Let's go to that.
Are we good on that for now? Are
Yeah.
we good?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So when do you want this process to start?
Let's come back August 24th and just, like, I think we're gonna have an abbreviated version.
Okay.
I think we're not gonna,
Yeah.
you know, we can each extend it as much as we want with, like, information gathering. But I think our next meeting is August to even talk about what questions we have.
All right.
Like, I just want to get something in the
Yeah.
books on a reflection of the past year.
Right.
Pretty shortly, we're going to have an evaluation for this next year.
Right.
So let's
Yeah.
just get something together.
Okay.
So can we have those questions and maybe like a draft of some goals for next
Yes, I think we
year
should.
at the next meeting, so that's not all, start off the fall racing along.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I think, like, as a question we can reflect on goals, and I think we recently went through a priority exercise where
Right.
we, like, actually set twice in the last 4 months, we've done a select board priorities.
Right. Which could be a little bit different than goals that we might want the town manager to work on.
Yeah. I just, you know, I think if people don't have an additional thing to say on that,
Yeah.
I think that's fair too.
Yeah.
I think if people do have a different version, that's fine. But, like, we did present to the town manager on what our select board priorities are
Yeah.
for the next year.
Yep.
Okay.
And so I just want to, like, we've done that work. I don't know.
So the next meeting in August.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're actually going to get there in a second. So
Thank
maybe
you.
let's do the, we're going to do the town manager's report, public comment, and then we'll talk about the next agenda items.
Okay.
Bob.
All right. I did just want to reiterate the message of National Night Out and encourage folks to attend. It's a good opportunity for the community to come together. I appreciate Andrew and the work that he's done in the presentation. I just wanted to remind folks, I mean, the work that's already happened just in this one grant that we were highlighting is a lot of work. This is all of these projects are multidisciplinary. You have big infrastructure type things that involve our DPW. Andrew is a army of one in all of this, and, you know, the DPW is the same. It's like largely we have, you know, a labor pool there that is doing the actual work, and you have Craig who is trying to manage all of that and do all of this this other work of bringing money in for grants, for culvert work, all of that. So it's an amazing amount of work. We have the conversations about economic development and such, and I really do think that all the help that we can get from everybody, it's great that there's keen interest in it, and we need all the help we can get because it really is an army of just a couple people doing heavy lifts on this. And as you can see, just from the projects, they're just the complex, they're multi-steps. It's great when we can have the state do the bidding on our behalf, but that's not the case in most of the work that we're doing, and Craig is having to do all of that work. So there's many things we'd like to do, and staffing limits that a little bit, but I do want to reiterate, just even like with the recreation plan, you know, Craig has got a lot of plates spinning. You know, he's doing a lot of work, and I just want to give kudos to our small but mighty team who's doing a lot of great work on all of this. Last time we met, I just mentioned that the state budget was just getting wrapped up. I had mentioned that overall, in spite of the fact that federal funding has been drying up for certain things that impact the state significantly, the revenue picture was pretty decent in the sense that there are small amounts of expansion. A lot of that was largely focused on education, so there's small bits of relief on the education side of things, which of course helps us as a community, where the budget increased for Chapter 78, if you're going to get another $100+ per pupil. Supplemental budget was then subsequently filed after the budget was signed, and there's similar education relief, and that too to the tune of a little over $100 per pupil. So there's some relief coming on the education side. Again, that takes a little bit of pressure off of our budgets overall that we've felt keenly. In the budget, there wasn't a lot else to really report, and it was good news in the sense that there weren't deep cuts, not a lot of expansion. But there was one area where the state did decide to look into authorizing municipalities slash, let's say, regional retirement systems to look at the retirement cost of living formulary, and that might be something that comes to you guys for ultimate discussion and approval, depending on what the Berkshire Retirement Board and system decides to do. The way the cost of living adjustments are set in Massachusetts, and then that rolls down into municipalities, is that you get a cost of living adjustment only on the first, say, $15,000 of your income kind of thing, where COLAs generally in most systems apply to your whole pension amount kind of thing. With all of the inflationary pressures in the past few years, that small number of $15,000 or so people have been feeling the pinch of that they're just not keeping up with inflation. So there was local options, a local option added that municipalities and broader jurisdictions can look into that. So we'll be having conversation with Berkshire Retirement just to see if there's conversation and interest on that. But again, that would be something that comes back to you for further discussion. And that's about all I have.
So when the state gives us relief, like this education relief, does that mean we then collect less tax because they're paying more of the school budget? No. What does it mean to us?
I mean, like everything, we estimate our revenues, so it just would mean our revenues would come in higher.
Okay.
And then that would be something, it would be on their balance sheet of like either that we would fund their depleted reserves or I can't speak for them.
Right, okay.
I don't want to misspeak, but
it
something
comes
like
in
that,
and,
yeah,
all right.
could happen.
Yeah. Oh, well, one other little thing, I just wanted to note that I see we're soon gonna have a town newsletter, so that'd be great. If people go to the homepage, it pops up asking if you want to sign on to the newsletter, so that's a nice feature that we now have, so thanks for that.
There'll be some
pressure
campaigns.
off your newsletter.
Yeah.
If you notice, it hasn't gone out for a couple of months.
It's a lot of work.
I know.
It's hard to do them for sure. So we're excited about it. It's also an opportunity for folks. We'll make a formal announcement when we're.
Oh, I hope I haven't jumped the gun.
No. It's great. We were trying to socialize this with everybody. One thing we haven't done in a long time is just have people opt in to give us your email address so we can communicate with you. So we'll start to rebuild that effort, and the newsletter will be a piece of that. So it'll make it easier for us, another channel for us to communicate to the community.
Yeah, cool.
Bob, do we have anyone in public comment?
I do not.
No. Okay. Next, we have other business. August 10th, planned summer cancellation. And then August 24th, we'll start with our tax classification hearing. And then we'll have a regular meeting afterwards. So we'll pick up this conversation about the town manager evaluation, and also please email me any agenda items that you want on our agenda before then.
Okay.
We had, in case we were finished with the Water Street land sale, we put on the executive session for possible release of executive session minutes once the purpose for which the executive session was held is no longer needed. Then as soon as possible we then release as a public record the minutes from it. So since we haven't finished that process yet, right now we have a purchase and sale agreement out to the college. I without, unless there's an objection, I would defer that item to the next meeting, unless people would prefer to go into that session tonight. All right, so without objection, that'll be deferred to the next meeting. In which case, we will just take a motion to adjourn this meeting, and
I motion to adjourn.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, meeting's adjourned. Thank you.